Today, we've got a huge update for one of the most anticipated indie games of the last decade, because Hollow Knight Silksong has officially been confirmed to be getting a physical edition, and pre-orders are live right now. This is the kind of announcement fans have been waiting on for years, especially those who prefer having a physical copy in their collection rather than just owning a digital license. After all the speculation, delays, and silence that surrounded Silksong over the years, seeing it finally move into a fully confirmed physical release feels like another major milestone for a game that has already built an almost legendary reputation before even arriving in full form for many players. To break it down clearly, the physical editions are being handled across multiple platforms, including PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch 2, with compatibility extending to the original Switch version where applicable. Pre-orders are now officially open, and the current release window is set for October 16th, 2026. That date immediately stands out because it gives fans a concrete point on the calendar to look forward to, which is something Silksong News hasn't always been generous with in the past. Instead of vague updates or silence, we now have something solid: a date, platforms, and a clear physical release strategy that shows the game is fully entering its long-term retail life cycle. What makes this physical edition more interesting is that it isn't just a standard disc or cartridge release with nothing else included. Fangamer's approach here leans heavily into collector appeal, with reversible cover art included in every edition, a physical manual that brings back that classic era feel of game packaging, and a fold-out map of Farloom that gives fans a tangible piece of the world they've been waiting to explore. These are the kinds of extras that don't affect gameplay, but absolutely enhance the sense of ownership, especially for players who grew up with physical games where manuals and maps were part of the experience rather than something you downloaded or ignored in a menu. There are also slight differences depending on the platform you choose. The Nintendo Switch 2 version is positioned as the most feature-complete physical release, reportedly including a more expanded manual and presentation package, while PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S versions are priced slightly lower but still include the core physical extras like the map and reversible cover. Pricing comes in at around $39.99 for PlayStation and Xbox, while the Switch 2 edition sits closer to $44.99. That small difference reflects both platform-specific packaging choices and the ongoing trend of Nintendo-related physical releases, sometimes carrying a slight premium, especially for collector-focused editions. Another important detail is how this physical release fits into the broader Silksong ecosystem. The game originally launched digitally in 2025, quickly becoming one of the most talked about releases in the indie space, not just because of its gameplay, but because of the sheer weight of expectation that followed it from its predecessor, Hollow Knight. Over time, it's become one of those rare titles that exists both as a game and as a cultural moment in gaming communities. So a physical edition isn't just a product release. It's a symbolic step that cements its place as a long-term staple in gaming libraries, something fans could put on a shelf alongside the classics it will no doubtedly be compared to. It's also worth noting that this physical edition is arriving alongside continued post-launch support plans. There's an upcoming expansion currently referred to as Sea of Sorrow, which is not included on the physical disc or cartridge, but will instead be distributed as a free download when it becomes available. That detail is most important because it shows how the physical version is being treated as a snapshot of the base game at launch rather than a complete edition in a traditional sense. It also means that even physical collectors will still need to go online for future content, which is increasingly common in modern game publishing. Naturally, fans are already connecting dots and speculating about timing. Whenever a physical release gets announced for a major game like this, especially one with a long and unpredictable development history, the community immediately starts wondering if there are deeper implications. Some are asking whether this could hint at the timing of upcoming DLC or whether it signals a broader marketing push for the game's next phase. While nothing official supports these theories yet, it does show how engaged the community remains and how every new piece of information around Silksong tends to generate a wave of renewed discussion and anticipation. At the end of the day, this is a big win for fans who have been waiting not just to play Hollow Knight Silksong, but to physically own it in a meaningful way. In an era where so many games are digital only, seeing a fully realized physical release with actual extras, a clear pre order structure, and a defined release date is something worth acknowledging. It also reinforces that Team Cherry and their publishing partners understand the long term value of the game beyond its initial launch cycle. If you enjoyed the video and found this update helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future gaming news, breakdowns, and deep dives. It really helps the channel grow and make sure you stay up to date whenever big stories like this break. And if you want to go a step further and support the channel directly, you could check out my Patreon. The latest Patreon exclusive is How Long Can Video Game Franchises Keep Expanding, where I take a deep dive into how long major franchises can realistically continue before hitting creative limits, and what separates series that evolve from those that eventually fade out. Your support over there helps me keep creating more in-depth content like this. And with that said, that's everything we know so far about the Hollow Knight Silksong Physical Edition and its pre-order launch. Game on. Testing.